All right, everybody, what is up? Ben Reza here for Stokastic. It is the Wyndham Championship DFS Picks preview. All sorts of stuff that we've got going on. It's the end of the regular season of PGA Golf, FedEx Cup, all that. We got plenty more. But for us today, you know what we got to do? Let's build some lineups. Let's have some fun. Let's break down this field and let's make some money. We're going to talk about everything going on here at Stokastic, show you all that. I'll talk about what I've got going on the betting side as well. But we are going to break down this field, use our data, use our tools, see what we can come up with. Last week, 3M, it was interesting. I was on Kitayama. I was over on him, and I just couldn't get a 6-6 linked up, and it wasn't the cheapies. Some cheapies, but Maverick, Finau, some of the bigger names in the field just no-showed, and that was obviously a Thor Bjornsson. That was probably the big killer. All in all, I escaped, but hopefully your week saw some really good results. Let's keep that momentum going. So first things first, welcome to Stokastic, all things DFS. If you're just here for the first time, you don't know who the hell I am or what we do, take a look around this channel. You will see picks and breakdowns and tools to make you a better DFS player. So before football, press subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. And now you're part of the Stokastic family. Let's get into the Wyndham, though. Again, it's a chance for people to save their cards and their status and all that good stuff. I get that question every year. Do you look at that? Not really, to be honest. If I was completely torn on a guy, coin flip style, maybe. But the thing about it, and I fall into this all the time in all sports, where it's like, oh, this team needs to win. Well, if they needed to win and they can win, they wouldn't be in this spot. Guys that are on those numbers, they haven't been playing very good golf all year. They're not just suddenly going to play good golf. Some might, but I don't think it's solely because they need to save their cards. If they could just do that, they would have done it. So I don't read too much into it. I'm just going to evaluate this field like anything else, and we're going to evaluate this course like anything else because we know the course. It's Sedgefield Country Club. It's not long. Bermuda, only a pair of par fives. Keep it out of the bad stuff, some water, all that good stuff. It's nothing crazy. We see this every single year at the Wyndham, so I don't really read a ton into what we need here. Besides, it's pretty classic North Carolina golf. Pretty fast greens. There's certainly Bermuda. Fairways can be difficult at times. It's a Donald Ross layout if you're into that type of stuff. I don't get too granular. You obviously don't need to be a bomber. So if you want to be aggressive, you'll have some short irons in. If you want to lay back and make it some longer irons, that is certainly your prerogative at this course. Now, let's get right into the field. Here we go. And I kind of prefer these weeks in the sense that it's so much more interesting when you have these like game theory situations when you don't have, I guess that it's game theory as well, but like Scheffler when he's 14,000 is so different than Fitzpatrick leads us off at 10-6. Keegan at 10-3. Ben Griffin, who was triple rolling, and then it's amazing. One no-show, and look at that ownership. Right back to where it was. Decky, not rolling, but interesting. Bobby Mack, Jordan Spieth, Aaron Rye, who's going to be in the Bhatia range from last week. So looking at the screen, you see 7 names. Decky, I think, would be my favorite, followed by Keegan. Hideki's irons have been there. That's not the problem. Hideki's short game has been there. That's not the problem. Hideki's off the tee game has been horrendous. That is the problem. But he was 16th at the Open, 13th at Rocket Mortgage. He's starting to find it, I think. The putter hasn't been an issue either. It's really just off the tee. I'm going to bank that this course can mitigate that and that he can show that he's amongst the class of the field. Rye makes a ton of sense. I get it. He's going to be extremely popular. There's no doubt about it. He also is in this like range where he could be your very balanced first man in. You could be your obvious second man in. That makes ownership even higher because he catches 2 type of builds. He hasn't been blowing, the competition away by any stretch, but he's making cuts. He's consistent. Off the tee's rock solid. He just needs to putt a little more. Spieth, I think, is a pretty interesting wild card. Obviously, all these guys are going to garner some ownership. We just haven't seen Spieth as much and, the health and whatnot, but he seems to be all right, and he is playing here. So I'm going to kind of, in itself, say that he's good to go. 15% seems fair. The other guys I may have slivers of, obviously I have no problem with Fitzpatrick, but he's the most expensive player. Priority will be Decky. Keegan, I'm going to get a healthy amount of rye. I don't know if I'll get over the field because at 30%, that's a lot. And you can see it's no surprise his leverage score is very bad just because of that ownership. He is probably going to be over-owned. The next batch, Harry Hall, Jake Knapp, Bhatia, Glover, Kitayama, Siwoo, and Adam Scott. Let's give Kitayama his flowers of just unreal on the weekend. I mean, unreal Saturday, but to me, even more impressive. You go out on Saturday, you shoot just like, I think he shot 60, just an insane round. And it's like, okay, that happens. To come out Sunday and birdie the first 3 holes is in serious, serious territory. That is so impressive. And he was awesome. He's definitely playable again. He's a streaky player. I'm not in love with the spot. I would rather play Bhatia, who played great until the final round and completely melted. Jake Knapp was right up there as well. He was in one of the last groups with Sam Stevens. Harry Hall, Glover. Glover's got to make his putts. Siwoo and Adam Scott. Looks like Adam Scott will be the lowest of the bunch. Probably have the least interest in Glover. I don't want to say that I'm not going to get to him, but I'm a little surprised if he pushes 20% ownership. I don't really get that, to be honest. He's at a pretty premium tag. I do think this is a good setup, so I get it. And I do understand that the form is very solid from Travelers to JDC to the Open. The irons are there. He's going to have to make his putts, and that has plagued him, for a long time on the PGA Tour. Like a lot of guys, he's got a decade plus of experience at the Wyndham, and the results are pretty mixed bag. I'd say below average. So for me, Bhatia, Siwoo, honestly, any of these guys, I'd say Bhatia will be the priority for me in the lower 9s. I don't think I'll be starting with them, though. These are second man in, third man into golf lineups. Ricky. I'm playing Ricky again. I played him last week, and he was, I don't know about awesome, but he was fine. You look at where he is, I think this is where he should be in this type of field. $8,500, moderately owned. He came in 28th last week. He's been good off the tee. Get that short game a little more efficient, and we'll be in business with Ricky. Oh, boy. Ryan Gerard. This guy is an enigma. I played him at the Scottish, and he was not good. His putter had been broken for months. Then, of course, alt events, he surges. I'm going to have him in the pool. I prefer Ricky. And then it's a weird situation. You have Clanton there. You have Greiserman. And then you have Denny McCarthy. Denny McCarthy is going to be a key piece for me this week. Really going to need him. Fascinating year. Didn't miss a cut all year until he went to Europe. Missed 2 straight cuts, Scottish and the Open. This is a question for all of us. Was it links golf and he's fine? Was it he's lost his form and it happened to coincide with the Scottish and the Open, and that's going to carry over here? That's a tough question to answer. I'm more believing that he wasn't super comfortable over there, that the putter wasn't to the levels that we've seen. He relies so heavily on the putter. He doesn't have the luxury of being flat with the flat stick. He needs to be rolling with the flat stick, and he certainly wasn't over there. And then you look at, again, I think it's pretty noisy, but this guy's played the Wyndham 6 times, and he's gained strokes putting in 5 of those events. He seems to like these greens. I'm going to bet that Denny returns to form, and I'm going to buy low immediately on him. Sam Stevens, he was awesome last week. I think if you're going, it doesn't have to just be themed lineups, but if you're going a little more aggressive off the tee, he belongs in that conversation. He's going to be in a lot of people's conversations, as you can see, 14.5 roughly % owned for him. We'll see where that ends up, but I think that's about right. And then the last guy in the 8s is Sanjay. I just think you basically, you're buying blindly. I say this every week, and I'm not going to do that. His irons are broken. They've been broken all year, and they're probably going to stay broken at this point. So that's just not something that I'm super interested in whatsoever. So to sum this range up, priorities: Ricky, Denny, Sam Stevens, I think makes a lot of sense. And you can get 2-3 of these guys. We're going to mess around with the single lineup simulator. for sure in just a little bit. It's a perfect time to mention to you guys before we dip into the sevens. I'm using the data hub right now, right here on Stokastic. This is kind of what powers all our tools. And you see it, data hub, single lineup simulator, which we'll mess around with, contest generator, pre-contest sim, post-contest sim. All of these tools are available. All of these tools are super powerful. It helps you build effective lineups. It helps you break down your own game, helps you break down the field. And if you want to check some of this stuff out, again, come in even for the week. Test it out. NFL is going to be here soon enough. And these tools translate across the board. So you can always get all access where you get all the sports. But even if you want to play PGA with these tools and get used to the single lineup simulator, get used to the sims themselves, this is a great way to do it. Again, link in the description. You click it and you get to this page and you can find what works for you. You can find all sports. You can find these new packages and you can see what you're getting with each one. Come and check it out and hopefully see your name on this list, which just keeps growing. It's ridiculous. So really, really fun stuff. And again, we will mess around. You're going to get to see the single lineup simulator just a few minutes, but we got to talk about more golfers. We got to go. All right. This is a cool range, actually. Hogard. Sure. Cam Young. Okay. He's a difficult player to get right, but I'm going to have to take a couple stabs on him. He didn't do anything at the Open, which was a little disappointing. JT Poston, Matt Wallace, Pearson Cootie, Thor Bjornsson. There's a game theory play, and Davis Thompson. So let's talk about some moderately owned guys in Poston and Wallace. I'm indifferent to them. Cootie, I actually held on and I played him last week, and he was good. I just didn't have him in the right lineups, kind of as a dart throw. He was awesome off the tee. I think you can stick. I really do. Secrets out a little bit. The buyback was much easier because he was awful 2 weeks ago, but you definitely can do that. The big question for me is Stuart Bjornsson. Everyone loved him last week. He was dead on arrival. He had no shot after Thursday. Friday, he was indifferent and fine. So maybe it was just a bad 18 holes. If you're telling me that his ownership is at this level, I am definitely getting over. Now, if this creeps towards 10%, and this will update as the day goes on, if needed, I still probably get over, but it's more of a nuanced position. I like this spot for him. I'm ready to say that was just a freak occurrence. There was nothing that I could see, and I certainly wasn't alone, in Thor Bjornsson just completely no-showing last week. Davis Thompson's right there. I seem to always short him, so probably will again, to be honest, but he's not nearly as popular. That makes it a little more reasonable. Kevin Yu, another strong off the tee player. Bjorn Olesen, 76. This is an interesting situation. He was in the group with Bhatia on Sunday, and they were both dangerously bad. They were just not able to get anything going. So he came in 14th, but he also could have won the tournament. That really doesn't tell the story. The more difficult thing is that 14th came out of nowhere. The last time the guy had a top 10 was Valero back in early April, littered with miscuts. Tricky. Type of guy, if he pops up in some of my lineups, I will not manually override, but I don't think I'll be actively targeting Thorbjorn Olesen in the simulations this week. Bud Cauley, fine. Griot, obviously. That's what I'm talking about. You guys know the deal. I do this every time I change the thing. All right, here we go. I talk about Griot at 7,500. I loved him last week, and he was fine. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He just did his thing. If he continues to play like that, sign me up. He came in 20th, gained 4.5 strokes on the approach, 3 strokes putting. Off the tee was a little weak, but he's been super strong off the tee all year. Griot. One of the more important pieces, maybe the most important player for me. I don't see why I wouldn't play him. Tom Kim, Keith Mitchell, Michael Kim, Jackson Kovan, whatever this guy's name is, from Auburn. Really talented player. Kind of interesting. If you want to be early, you're going to have to buy because this kid's only going to get better. He did. So this is one thing that's a little weird. If you look, he came in 11th at JDC, and it's like, wow, he was on stupid fire with the putter. Unsustainably good. So keep that in mind. I would rather play Max Homa. Would I rather play Tony Finau? I don't know. He was so bad last week. He was so bad. I don't understand. He's not going to be 0.18% owned, but he's going to be low owned. And because of that, these guys are such easy plays to get into the pool in large field tournaments. So I don't need crazy positions. If Tony Finau gets cut again and I have 8% or 12%, that's a mild annoyance. Instead of when he's 20% and I have 38%, that's a third of my lineups going down, nearly 2/5 going down. That's not going to get it done. So Finau's going to be in the pool. I just don't need as much, and that's comforting. Rico Huey, he will probably be the guy that I think garners the most interest here. Novak as well, but Huey in particular, I think makes a ton of sense. I would prefer Jesper Svensson, my guy, who I play every single week, and I will continue to play him until something changes. What could change? 1, he could lose his form. 2, his price could increase. Neither of those things is happening right now. 44th at JDC, 43rd at the Scottish, 16th at the Open, 14th at the 3M. I'm going to continue to play Svensson until something changes. Rasmus is right there. I like the price. I don't really understand why he's this low. He was awesome at the Open. This is a much weaker field, and low sevens just feels like he should be with his brother, not here. So for that reason, I'm in. Now, chalk Bez, I don't know about this. I'm gonna have some Bez in the pool, but you got to be kidding me. I'm stunned people are this interested. I would take it from someone that knows. I play Bez all the time. There's no safety with him because he has no off the tee game to speak of. He's an elite putter, and he's an elite short game player. His irons are the reason that he's found some stability. 3 straight made cuts, 34th at the Open, 20th last week. If he continues to hit it with the irons, he's going to be fine. And he makes sense at 72. But it's a crowded range because I like Svensson. I like Rasmus. Noren is right there as well. And Noren played well last week. So clearly Bez is going to be the lightning rod for ownership. I'm not going to do anything radical like full fade him. But instead of having, say, just take these at face value, 21 to 2 to 7 to 8%, I'm not going to have a ratio of 10 to 1 Bez to Rasmus, 3 to 1 Bez to Svensson, 3 to 1 Bez to Noren. It might be around 1 to 1, and maybe 2 to 1 Bez to Rasmus, something like that. Not crazy like this. So I am more taking a more balanced position in the low sevens with this field. Echitariva is a name that's on my list. Going to look at him. Eckroad is on my list. I play him every week. He did his thing. He really, really gutted it out on Friday. So I do have to give him credit there. Made that cut. Fizzled out a little on the weekend. Came in 39th. Irons are there. Off the tee game is there. Eckroad is in the pool for sure. Takumi Kanaya showed a little form, mostly with the short game, but keep an eye on that name. Good leverage scores here. William Mao, Benny On, Vincent Whaley. He's in the pool for me at 71. The reason I can keep saying that these guys are in the pool is because you don't need to go to the sixes if you don't want to, because there's no win equity up top, or it's marginalized at the very least. These are guys that aren't going to need a ton of ownership. I'll go skill set centric for the most part here. A guy like Benny On is certainly an off the tee guy. A guy like Vincent Whaley to me is a little more balanced, probably iron centric. Gary Woodland, he would be another name. He's not even on the screen, but I can promise you he's in the pool. 7K was good sneaky good last week. I believe he came in 20th. Let's see. I just looked at this. Yeah, he came in 20th. Really good. 6.5 tee to green. Just couldn't putt. That would have been a top 10 potentially with a few more makes on the greens. Woodland is someone I actually might bet. He's 110 to 1. You could do worse if you're looking for a dark horse winner than Gary Woodland this week. Before I get to the 6K range and before we do a single lineup simulator, I do want to mention, obviously we're breaking down the DFS slate, but if you're like me, you probably like to bet golf. You might like to bet baseball. You might like to bet college football, which is my favorite sport to bet. If you like to do some betting, or you just want to talk about DFS as well, I want to make sure people know that my Tails marketplace syncs right into my Discord. You get right in here. You see these channels. You've got me. You've got another really sharp baseball mind in there who's teamed up with me to give a ton of plays every day. And we're in there. We're dropping bets. We're talking different sports. We have a DFS channel as well, golf, all sorts of stuff. So if you want to check all this out, come on in for the week. I'm running. I like to do this on the strategy show. I did this a couple weeks ago. I opened up 5 spots with this code right here. The link is below in the description of this video. It'll say join Ben's Discord and Marketplace. You go there and you put in the code heater. Not because I'm on a heater, because I'm willing a heater to exist as August turns the page, or as we turn the page to August. There are 5 spots open for this code. If you get in, you're in for $1 for a week. If you use the code and it says invalid, obviously no harm, no foul. You're always welcome, and we'll be running more things in the future. But if you're one of those 5, come on in and join us. Have some fun, get some extra bets, answer some questions. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and just join the community where you can sweat out the Wyndham and all sorts of bets. So again, code is heater. Link is below. $1 for a full week of the Discord and all this good stuff. As you can see, we're already talking some college football in there. Now, let's finish this up and let's start building some lineups. I'm not going to have a ton to say in the 6s because I don't think you need to. Patrick Fishburne on the list for me. Lee Hodges, I think you could go back to. He was very disappointing last week, though. Schmid looked good for a little while. Bomber-centric. He's on that list. Seamus had a couple sharp minds on Twitter yesterday. Mentioned Seamus. I get it. For a complete YOLO play, 6,700. He can get crazy hot with the irons. For me, Nick Hardy is that guy right here, 67. He has been all over the map. Some good, some bad. He seems like he's kind of heating up. He's a very erratic player. His irons are better than most in this range. He gained 6 strokes on the approach at the 3M. That caught my eye, and that's worthy of a couple shares for me this week. I mean, Brian Campbell wins like 10% of the events he's in, but when he doesn't win, he misses the cut. Keep that. Quade Cummings, not sure I've ever played that person. Jackson Suber, I tried to play him last week. Dahman was all right last week. I just, again, ask yourself the question every time you're down here. What is the benefit of playing these guys? If you like the play them. But if you don't like the play and you're doing it so you can pay up at the top, remember that you're not paying up for Scheffler and Bryson and Rory. You're paying up for good players like Fitzy and Keegan, but they're not those players. And that is a huge, huge, huge difference. What do you say we have some fun and we build some lineups? Again, if you have any questions for me, Jazzraz Bets, I just talked about how you can find some bets in my Tails marketplace in the Discord as well. Let's build a lineup. This is a single lineup simulator, by the way. One of the coolest tools we have. Simple. You just build lineups. It's going to show you what we got going on. Should we build let's start with the Bez lineup. Sure, why not? Bez and Eckroat. And so we got a couple cheapies. I want to pay up. I'll go Decky and Rye. Right now, immediately, I'm a little skeptical just because Rye and Bez is going to be a very chalky combo, but we'll see what this gives us. You can fill in all 6, or you can press complete this lineup, and they will give you the optimal plays around it, and then we can run the sim. We can test this out. You can get your filters here. I'll go large contest, and we will press run lineup simulation, and we scroll, and we're going to get a number, and that's going to tell us, are we on the right track, or do we need to go back to the drawing board? I think we might have to go back to the drawing board here, but we'll let the tools do the work. We'll find out for ourselves. And again, the thing about this, every time I say that, I reverse jinx us. Great lineup, 9.3%. Look at these cash lines, beautiful. Okay, there you go. So you see a lot of ownership here, but a couple leverage points. Interesting. Let's do one more. Come on now. And we'll go. I like Bhatia, Siwoo. Fitzy. And let's see. I'm sure this is going to give us Bez again because he's grading out very well. Yeah, Bez, Novak, Noren. I do like this look. So this is a cool look. Actually, I'm glad we did this. This is a type of build I'm going to have, and I'm going to interchangeably rotate Rasmus into here, Noren into here, Bez into here, Woodland into here, Svensson into here. All sorts of names in that range. And then you get 3 up top. That's going to be a really common build for me this week. I like that a lot. Let's see what the sim thinks. The sweat before the sweat. Come on. Show me green. Almost there. Slightly green. Workable. Definitely workable. And that's good for me because, again, I'm going to have a ton of these combinations this week. I think we did some pretty damn good work here, friends. What do you guys think? If you have any questions for me, Jazz, Res, Bets, I already mentioned that. And all that good stuff. Those links are in the description of this video, from DFS, these tools, all of that, to betting and me, and the Discord, and the family, and the community. It's all good stuff right now. We are having a blast, and I want to see more of these. Again, they're everywhere right now. It's a great time from basketball to transition to golf and certainly MLB. Let's just keep it going. If you do hit something, please tweet us. We want to celebrate. We run, when one of us wins, we all win. We run some really fun deals, and you certainly get in the Hall of Fame, get to celebrate with all that. And I hope to see it top of the Wyndham board this week. And on that note, friends, hit the like button on your way out. But thanks for tuning in. I love doing this show. One of my favorites of the week. And it's because I get to just break down golf, and the support has been awesome from all of you. So I just want to say thanks and good luck this week. Don't think I'll be going anywhere. We'll be breaking down playoff golf and all sorts of things, college football soon enough. But in the meantime, let's get it done at the Wyndham Championship this week. Good luck. Enjoy. See you next week.